Hi everyone, Senator Jason Rarick here at the Capitol, and today I want to talk to you about an issue that we've talked about in the past, but it's top of mind right now in St. Paul, and that's this looming deficit that we have to deal with. $6 billion that we have to cut from the state budget. And there's a lot of discussion around it right now, why is this happening? Where did it come from? And one of the things that I want to get out there right away, a lot of folks are trying to blame President Trump for this $6 billion deficit here in Minnesota. Understand one thing. When the November forecast came out, we showed a $5.1 billion deficit. Then at the end of February, we get the new projection. It got worse, went from 5.1 to a $6 billion deficit that we're facing out in the next biennium. But to keep in mind, there's no way we can blame this on President Trump. He had been in office for about 3 weeks. There's zero way he had any chance of having that kind of an impact on Minnesota's budget. Again, this isn't national, this is Minnesota's budget. So how did this happen? Let's look back just a couple of short years ago when we had a $19 billion surplus. And where did that come from? That came from a number of years where we had divided government, we could not come to agreements on increasing spending, so we were left with money on the bottom line year after year after year. It accumulated into this $19 billion surplus. Then in 2023, when the Democrats had the trifecta, full control, they decided they were going to spend it all. The problem is that we've talked about in the past is it wasn't spent in a way that would generate new revenues for the state. It was given out to nonprofits. It was spent on things that it wasn't taking care of our infrastructure. So this $6 billion deficit comes because of our lack of foresight over the last 2 years, putting together our budgets, thinking about what the future impacts would be. We raised these concerns in committees and on the Senate floor in 23 and in 24, saying, if you spend the money this way, it will in no time create a deficit. And it happens sooner than we even imagined. This next biennium that we're budgeting for now, a tiny little surplus. We're down to just a little over $400 million. And if we spend any of that $400 million, the $6 billion deficit grows. So that is something that we have to take very seriously and look at. And to me, the cuts need to come from state agencies that grew 40% in the last 2 years. Instead, the governor wants to shift expenses away from the state and onto counties or onto people in their personal lives by taking away services. Folks, that's not saving you any money. That's just going to create you a tax burden at the county level or money coming out of your own pocket to continue to have the services you need and expect. So instead of cutting back on services to non-public school students and shifting money over to counties, let's find a way to cut the $6 billion. We hear of a bunch of fraud that has happened in our state agencies. We know of wasteful spending that's happening. We just haven't been wise under these last 2 administrations with our money. Whether you agree with that or not, but under Governor Dayton and now Governor Walz, we have just seen an astronomical growth in state agency spending. We have gone from in the $30 billion budget range for the state to $72 billion. You can't tell me we can't find a way to cut $6 billion from that without impacting the services. And also remember, when you count in the federal money that comes into this state, we spend $128 billion every 2 years. So we don't have a revenue problem, folks. We have a spending problem. And it is time to really step back, look at where we can cut that $6 billion that will not have the impact on the residents of Minnesota with the services and the products, the things that they need to get by. State agencies can make these cuts and we'll survive just fine.